Hello everybody. I know none of you asked for this because quite frankly I'm not really known for being a gaming channel, but you know what, I decided to say fuck it and I'm just gonna do a Call of Duty Zombies tier list. Now, I know most of my viewers do not play Call of Duty Zombies, but I'm still gonna do this because for the people who do want to get into Call of Duty Zombies on my channel, and they want to know what maps are good and what maps are bad. So we're gonna hop right into this. Now I'm gonna establish a few things. First of all, I've never played any of the Dead Ops arcade modes, so we're just gonna get those out of the way now. Second, I haven't played I haven't played World War II yet. I'm planning on doing that because it just got added to Game Pass, but I'm gonna wait a little bit until the hacking has died down, and then I'm gonna then I will play it. Alright, so we're going to establish those now. And another thing I want to establish now is that any remaster of any map, I'm just going to put in the same tier as its original version, besides one. There's only one that I remaster that I will make a different ranking for, simply because it did make one significant change to the map. Alright? So, let's kick this off with Noctur Toten and World at War. Alright, so this map, even though it's the original map of Call of Duty Zombies, me personally, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of this map, even though it's the one that started it all. I'm gonna keep it real. This map right here, Noctur Toten, it's just I'm not the biggest fan. I'm gonna keep it real. I mean, is it a bad map? No, because it doesn't make me actively bored of playing it. Like, I do have fun. It's a nice baseline experience, but at the same time, especially in the World at War version, it's a D tier for me. I don't know. And then we're just gonna put the BL1 version at the same thing, because it's basically the exact same thing. So, yeah. Alright, next, Verrucht. Now, Verrucht is basically just, not, in my opinion, very similar to Noctur Toten and, like, basically the same thing, except it has perks, which automatically brings it up to C tier. Now, I was debating putting this in D tier, considering the fact that it still doesn't have Pack-a-Punch, which is a very big deal to me. It's basically impossible to make it to high rounds without Pack-a-Punch, but it's still very plausible to get to a high round on Verrucht. It's not impossible, but you can still do it, but it definitely makes it a lot harder to make it, for the average player to get on a high round on Verrucht without, yeah, put all the versions of Verrucht in there. Alright, next, Shinonuma. Oh wait, no, there's also, I forgot, there's actually two remasters of maps that, I'm not gonna put on the same tier. I guess you already know which one, I'm gonna do this, but anyways, Shinonuma, World at War. Me personally, I really do think that this map is basically just Verrucht, but better. I like how it's kind of has like the 4 different routes thing to it, and it's like really the only like map that does that in the Call of Duty Zombies franchise, if I remember correctly. It's like the only one where there's like a base. No, other maps have done it. No, I'm just lying. It's cool how there's like a central hub, and then there's like 4 different points you can go to. And I also like how I can't remember in the World at War version they're determined. I don't think they were, but it's completely random which perk you're gonna get at each station, which is pretty cool. You know, it's like a better Verrucht, so I'll put it at B. Now, oh wait, hold on, I gotta put every other Shinonuma remaster up here. There we go. Yep. Now, Darius. Now, or the Giant, as they call it in BO3. Darius, I think, is the pinnacle of casual zombies. Like, this map is like the absolute golden standard for a casual zombies map, because it's not humongous, right? It's just big enough to where it really feels good, you know? It's just that it's not too big to where it's a little overwhelming for a casual zombies map, but it's just small enough where it's like it gets you in that good spot, you know? And also the way you get Pack-a-Punch is pretty straightforward and not like super hard. I'm a big fan of Doris. I really am. And what's nice about the did they really? Yeah, they did remaster Doris. Where is it? Now, why is this out of order, kind of? Keener Wait, no, why did I grab Keener Token? Did they remaster Doris? Oh, right, they counted it as the giant. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay. Anyways, I think it's the pinnacle of casual, especially the BO3 remaster. The BO3 remaster really is just the pinnacle of casual zombies. I'm really glad that it was the bonus map for BO3 zombies because it's a great casual experience. So yeah. All right, next. Keener to Toten, actually the first map I fell in love with in BO3, and no, not just BO3 zombies, just zombies in general. It's the first map that really made me fall in love with it. And I'm gonna keep it real. Keener to Toten, I'm gonna have to give that also a solid A tier. It's another really nice casual zombies experience. There's the way to get to Pack-a-Punch is pretty easy. Hold on. Where is There it is. It's pretty easy, pretty light. It's a very nice map, and yet again, it's another like not too big, not too small map where it's like perfect. All right. Then there's 5. All right, 5. I'm gonna have to give a B tier. Now, I like the fact that it's like a very unique setting because everything else that we have experienced in zombies so far has been all World War II. Or at least most of it. Most of it is World War II up until this point. And now 5 is the first zombies game, or zombies map, sorry, where we got something that wasn't World War II. And it was really cool, honestly. And for that, I'm gonna have to give it right here at B tier. But at the same time, the map itself is just it's fine. It doesn't really like stand out to me in any way besides just being set in the Pentagon. So yeah, Ascension, this might be a hot take. I'm not a big fan of Ascension. I find the map to be really confusing. I'm just not a big fan of Ascension. For that, I'm gonna have to give it a C tier. I don't think it's a bad map by any means. It's just I get bored of playing it. I'm putting it a D. Because I just get bored of playing it. Like, it's just something about it, you know? I'm not a big fan. Where's the remaster? There we go. Okay. Next, Call of the Dead. Now, Call of the Dead is a pretty good map. I haven't really played it enough to give a solid opinion, but from what I've played, it's a B tier. It's pretty good. It's nothing insane. Shangri-La, I do like how it takes place in a very unique setting, and it's a setting that we don't really see for the rest of the Zombies franchise, but in like more of a tropical jungle, which is very unexpected, but I really like it. I know there's a lot. I think Shangri-La is a pretty like splitting map, but I don't know. I'm a pretty big fan, but I also think it's also another map where this is where I feel like the zombies, where zombies starts to get a little bit dull. BO1 is where zombies starts to get dull, because there's not really that many Easter eggs, there's not really much you can do, and that's why these maps start to fall off the longer it goes. So that's why we're putting Shangri-La in C. Moon, on the other hand, it takes that unique setting and adds unique mechanics to it. Because with Shangri-La, it was a unique setting, but the issue with it is that it didn't utilize that unique setting. It just kind of had the spike traps. It didn't utilize the setting, you know. But with Moon, they very much well utilized that setting, and I respect the hell out of it for it. So that's why we're putting Moon at B. because, yet again, not insane to me, but it's pretty good. Alright, next, Bus Depot. Now, oh god, I got something stuck in my okay, Bus Depot and just the entirety of transit. Oh boy. Bus Depot is some buns. And arguably, farm is worse. But town is good. Town is good. Transit, I'm very polarized about transit. That's why I'm going to put it at C. Oh, no, I'm going to move town to B, because the town is actually really good. But let me explain each one of these right. Farm is at F because it's so small that it ruins it. You know? Like, with Bus Depot, at least I can give it the credit where it's at least somewhat an okay size. With the farm, it's so small that I don't know what to do with it. You know? And then also plus the reason why both those are at the bottom is because we're at Black Ops 2, guys. Where are the Pack-a-Punch? Okay, maybe with Bus Depot I haven't found it, but I know in farm you cannot find Pack-a-Punch. It's just perks. So that's why we're putting it F. We're at BL2 at this point. You know, at least with a Vrucht and Shinonuma, they hadn't thought of the Pack-a-Punch yet. So therefore, you can't get it. Makes sense, and that's a valid excuse. But farm, come on, what are we doing? Town I like though, and then transit I'm just putting in the middle because like it's all right. Oh. For me personally, I like the change of pace. I'm the kind of man that likes whenever things are shaken up a little bit. But at the same time, I don't like this shake-up, Chief. I mean, the shake-up is cool in theory, but I'm not a big fan, you know? Especially since we get so little amount of time on these maps that, like, we visit. It's just, not a big fan. Alright. Nuketown. Another really good casual zombies experience. Yet again, drags it down for me is the fact that it has no Pack-a-Punch. That's really it. And also the fact that perks, I like the idea that perks slowly come down one by one, but I don't know, it just makes it a little too RNG based. But I have a soft spot since it's a really cool concept having it. It's the first multiplayer map to be put into zombies, which is pretty cool. Yeah, you gotta give it that. Next, Die Rise. Ooh, I'm not a big fan of Die Rise. I'm really not. I know there's a lot of people that kind of just say, "Oh, skill issue," if you don't like Die Rise, but I maybe it is a skill issue. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like Die Rise. Okay, I don't like Die Rise. Not a big fan. All right, next, Mob of the Dead. First S tier. This map is so good, and I don't understand how we haven't had a remaster for it yet. I mean, at this point in the Zombies franchise, I understand why we haven't had a remaster, considering Mob of the Dead wouldn't work, right? But we need a true and proper Mob of the Dead revival. Not Blood of the Dead, which we're going to get into in a minute, but we need Mob of the Dead, which is such a good map. It's so good. Alright. Next, Buried. I think it's pretty good. No. It's fine. Fine map. It's not like the best map, but I think it's pretty good. Next, Origins. Oh, Origins is a good map. Oh, the staffs and everything about. Oh, I know that's going in S tier right there. Oh no, that's a good map. That's a good map right there. All right, next, Outbreak. Oh, or on Advanced Warfare. This is the first non Treyarch zombies we're getting into, and oh boy, Advanced Warfare. It's controversial, but I'm honestly a big fan of Advanced Warfare. I'm probably a bigger fan of Advanced Warfare than the average zombies fan. And you want to know why I'm a big fan? It's because it's just there's something about it that it makes me happy for some reason. I don't know why, but I like Outbreak. I'm gonna admit it. not Outbreak, Advanced Warfare, because Advanced Warfare, it changes things up, you know? Because you take an already good formula like Call of Duty Zombies, and then you take it, and then you make it, like, kind of sci-fi-ish, and, you know, and I'm sure for that entire year I can understand why Zombies fans didn't like it, because you had an entire year of that, and meanwhile, I'm sitting here, and I'm just playing it, and I didn't have to go through, like, if I had to deal with that for all my Zombies content for a year, yeah, I would be upset too, but going back to it, it's not that bad. Now, let's get into the maps themselves. Now, Outbreak. This wasn't a good start, I'm not gonna lie. I was just talking about how good Advanced Warfare was, and yeah, this is not a good start. Outbreak is not a good Advanced Warfare map. It really isn't. Now, Infection, on the other hand, whew, that's a good map. I really do like Infection. Then there's Carrier, which I'm gonna put at C, because it was just fine. Same thing with Descent, because it wasn't necessarily good. It was just fine, and it wasn't. Carrier and Descent weren't memorable in any way, and that's why I'm putting them in C. Oof. We're getting to the Black Ops 3 run. The Black Ops 3 run has to be the greatest run in Call of Duty Zombies, the entire Call of Duty Zombies franchise. You wanna know why? Because we have Shadows of Evil, S tier. A pretty big map, but at the same time, it utilized it well. Every area felt different, and every area was nice, and there were tons of unique mechanics. Plus, BO3 is just a really good game. You know, there's really nothing else to say besides that. It's just a good game. And then you got Horizon Drag, another S tier, because Horizon Drag, oof, that's really good right there. Oh, we love Horizon Drag. Oh, the bows and everything. Zatsubu Nushima. I'll put it at B tier. I'm not a big fan of this map. Maybe it's just because I'm not a big fan of, like, parasite jungle themes. I find it kind of gross in my mind, but it's a fine map. It's not incredible. I think it's still, I mean, in terms of BO3 standards, on its own compared to other the Call of Duty Zombies maps, it's incredible. It's still really good, but compared to BO3 standards, it's not as good. And I'm gonna come off as a BO3 glazer, and I am a BO3 glazer, because BO3 is my favorite, and it was also the one that introduced me to Call of Duty Zombies, so of course it's gonna be, like, in my heart, one of the best. But at the same time, that's not to discredit other maps, because because BO3, even though it's a really good game, I will still acknowledge that other games are good, because there's a lot of BO3 glazers that basically have the mindset of it's not the same as BO3, it's bad. And I question that mindset, because I'm just like, oh, okay, well, obviously, nothing is going to be like BO3 ever again. Like, it's just simply not. So, I think the point that I'm trying to say here is that BO3 is good, but nothing's going to compete with it again. But you have to accept that it was good. It's still the best Call of Duty Zombies game we've had. So, I mean, and also granted, it was also the last Call of Duty with the classic formula. You got to keep that in mind, because I see Infinite Warfare and BO3 as the end of the classic Zombies formula. BO3 was still, like, it's somewhat in the classic formula, but it just changed enough to where I'm just like, okay. So, Grodgrovy, S tier, with all that being said. And then Revelations, this is a really hot take, because a lot of people hate Revelations, but I have a pretty good time on Revelations. So, stuck between A and B. I'm just gonna say B, because I feel like if I put on A, then people are gonna hate me. So, and I'm leaning towards B anyways, so, yeah. Nocturne and BO3. Ooh, okay. This basically took Nocturne and made it better, and that's why I'm putting it in C tier. Just one above the original Nocturne. Next, Zombies in Spaceland. Okay, this is where we get into Infinite Warfare. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't tried World War II yet, but out of one of the two non-Treyarch zombies I've played, Infinite Warfare is the better of them. And a lot of people glaze Zombie in Spaceland because it is an S tier map. Let's be honest with ourselves for a second. And the reason why people still diss Infinite Warfare Zombies is just because the other maps don't compete with it. And I'm not gonna lie, I think having such a strong start, it really drags down the other maps. Because I think the other maps are good, but at the same time, it's just, there's two issues with them. One, each map got worse after another. Like, Rave in the Redwoods is a B tier in my opinion. And Shaolin Shuffle is a C. And then Attack of the Radioactive Thing's a D. And the Beast from Beyond is an F. And the simple reason for that, I think the reason why people don't like Infinite Warfare is because Zombies in Spaceland was such a strong start, and then it just fell off after each map came out. It just got worse and worse. And I can understand why people don't like it. I like it, but it's just really Zombies in Spaceland that just carries it in the end, really. Rave in the Redwoods is really good. It's a good map, but it isn't good enough. And then Shaolin Shuffle is just really unrememberable. Attack of the Radioactive Thing just looks terrible. And then the Beast from Beyond, that's a terrible map. I'm sorry, it really is. Now, next, Voyage of Despair. Now, this is where we get into BO4. Which my biggest issue with BO4 is the perk system. Good in concept, bad in execution. That's the biggest issue with BO4. Is that it's good in concept, bad in execution. That's really the plain simple of it, in my opinion, of BO3. I think it had a lot of potential and it could have been really good if they just didn't fuck it up so much. No, it's not good. No. Voyage of Despair, though, I'm gonna have to put that in D tier. It's just not that good. 9 is really good, though. I'm gonna have to put that in A. And then Blood of the... Oh, Blood of the Dead. Oh. How can you fuck up a Mob of the Dead remaster? And I'll tell you why they fucked it up. It's because they tried to be ambitious with it. And because of that ambition, they made it terrible. They somehow took literally, I'd say, like, top 5 Zombies maps and ruined it. And I don't know, I don't know how you managed to do that. I really don't. So, for that, the map itself isn't bad, but for what it did to Mob of the Dead, I can't forgive it. I can't. And plus the Easter egg's terrible too. So, all that on top of that. Classified. Classified, I'm gonna have to put at like a solid B tier. I think out of all the BO4 maps, this was out of all of the BO4, like, with the other storyline with, like, you know, all the remasters, every single one being a remaster, I would say that the Classified was the best out of all the remasters. I don't think they should have done the whole, like, 2 storylines happening at once. I feel like that was just not very good. Hold on, what is Dead of Night? Hold on, let me just... Oh, it's this one. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is a good map. I personally like it. I've been putting it in B. Ancient Evil. I remember that one. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying... With BO4 Zombies, I'm really bad at remembering the names of all the maps. Because, like, all of them kind of blend in for me. Especially the other storylines maps. With, like, Dead of the Night, Ancient Evil 9, and Tagged or Toten. No, Tagged or Toten's easy to remember. Because that one's a remaster. Again. Voyage of Despair, I meant. Voyage of Despair, Ancient Evil, Dead of the Night, all of them kind of blend in to me, besides Voyage of Despair. Voyage of Despair, that one I can easily remember, because it takes place on the Titanic. That's the only memorable thing about it. Other than that, the other ones I can barely remember. 9, I just remember being good, but Ancient Evil and Dead of the Night, I get mixed up a lot, because they're pretty similar, but Ancient Evil and Dead of the Night are similar in quality, so I'm going to put them right there. Only problem with them, unrememberable. Next, Alpha Omega. Another botched remaster. Put it in C. It's, I mean, I guess I'm putting it in the same rank as Nuketown Zombies, but Alpha Omega and besides the Wonder Weapon, nothing else about it is really that great in my opinion. It just doesn't stand out to me. Tagged or Toten. Ooh, Tagged or Toten. This one is a pretty good remaster, actually. I wouldn't say it's better than Call of the Dead, but it's certainly alright. Alright, now we get into Cold War. And Cold War is where we get into my hot takes. Because Cold War, I am probably a bigger fan of the modern zombies than the average person. So with Die Machine, we're gonna put that at a solid B tier. No, A tier. It has a really good Easter egg. Other than that, the map itself is alright. It's a good introduction into Cold War, and that's why I like it a lot. It's not, as a map, it's not that great, but as an introduction to Cold War zombies, I think it introduces the new mechanics. The only thing I say is a flaw with it is that with actually, and this is why I'm going to bump it down to B tier, actually, right now as we speak, is because with Die Machine, right, every other Call of Duty Cold War, you'll notice this. It's open, right? With Die Machine, I don't think they realized how much, like, openness you need for Cold War zombies. So, the problem with Die Machine is that it's very tight corners, because they're still trying to have the old zombies kind of like way they design maps, but it just doesn't work with this new, with the new system they created for Cold War. So that's why I'm going to have to put it in B tier. Right? It would be A tier if it was just a little more open. The only two open parts was like that weird lake area and the spawn area. The spawn area is like the best spawn area out of all of Cold War. But other than those two areas, everything else was very tight. Oh, right, and the crash plane area too. Forgot about that. Firebase Z. Ooh. I used to love Firebase Z for some reason. And every time I revisit Firebase Z now, I question why I loved it so much. Because it is not good. The Easter egg is not good. The Wonder Weapon is not good. A lot of not good. The only thing it was good for was grinding camos, which that bumps it from F to D. So, yeah. Outbreak. Outbreak is a controversial one because I think my biggest issue with Outbreak is that the mode itself wasn't that bad. But my biggest gripe with it is that they put so much money and resources into Outbreak thinking it was going to become like the new big thing for zombies, and then it just ended up not being that. And I think that really just messed them up because Cold War Zombies could have had so many cool, like really cool maps if they just didn't spend a lot of the development time on Outbreak. But at the same time, the mode itself is fine, and I love the first Easter egg for Outbreak. The first Easter egg for Outbreak has to be one of my favorite boss fights in the game, and I also like how you can use basically any of the 3 wonder weapons that came out before it. I love that. So for that, I guess I was gonna put it in D or F, but because the Easter egg is so good, I'm gonna have to put it at C. Alright. Mauritoan, it might be the only S tier. It might be the only S tier modern zombies map. And I'll tell you why. First of all, it utilized what makes Cold War so good the best. The boss fight is the hardest boss fight in all of Cold War, and yet is the best, and is the most fun and unique. Maybe not most unique, but it's good, okay? Now, my only gripe with it that would bring it down if it weren't for the fact that they did change it is that it is from a campaign mission. but they just changed it just enough to where I'm just like, okay, it's not a big deal. Because in that campaign mission, for the most part, you weren't in the streets, you were in buildings. So I'm perfectly fine with that, from it being, like, taken from a campaign mission, just because of the fact that, oh, okay, well, it's mostly in the streets, and on top of roofs, and not inside buildings, which that mission was mostly in buildings that this map was taken from. So yeah, Forsaken, best wonder weapon out of all of the Cold War maps, and a pretty good boss fight, I would say. Not excellent, and here's why. It's just because that boss fight was so easy. It was so easy that it really brings it down for me. And also another thing is that I don't like the way you get around the map with having to use all the teleporters and the zip lines and the stuff like that. I'm just not a big fan of that. It makes it so that it feels like you're doing a lot of running around. And granted, that's a lot of Cold War zombies. Like, even Mauer de Toten, there's still a lot of, like, running around. But with Mauer de Toten, it has, like, it's still one area. Like, even though you're running around, it's still, like, I guess 2 areas if you count the subway area, but that part's so area, what the fuck, okay. It's so small that I'm just like, okay, but Forsaken, I'm gonna just put it at B. Not bad, pretty good. Boss fight is a bit of a bore, but the weapon, the wonder weapon and the Easter egg, and the steps to get to that boss fight are pretty unique and fun, so, yeah. Next. Let's just put this piece of shit where it belongs, because the problem with Vanguard isn't that it's bad. It's that it suffers, I'd say, even because I would rather play these 3 maps right here than play anything for Vanguard, for one reason. Because it's boring. Vanguard suffers from boredom, and that's what makes it bad. It isn't the fact that they're badly designed. It isn't the fact that they're whatever. They're just boring, which is a fatal flaw for any video game. Because I can deal with a bad video game, because at least I'll be entertained, right? At least it's bad where, like, at least, okay, it's bad, but I'm at least somewhat having fun. But if your game is boring, then what the fuck are you doing? Because I would rather play a million bad games than play like 100 boring games. Because if you have a boring game, I'm not going to have any motivation to play it. Because at least with Blood of the Dead, even though it's frustratingly infuriating to do the Easter egg, I would rather do that, because at least whenever I'm done with it, I'm just like, holy crap, I did it. Or with a farm, right? If I get past like round 15, I'm gonna be like, holy crap, I did it, right? But with Vanguard, it's just, there's nothing making me want to play it. The storyline isn't interesting, considering it has nothing to do with anything. You know, maps themselves just generic slog fest. You know, it's just nothing to make me play. Really, that's why I don't like it. All right. Now we're on to the final game, most recent game, BO6. Start off with Terminus. Terminus, I played a lot of. A tier. Now, I think it's good. It's good, but it's not the best. Yeah, there's a few flaws with it. First of all, the whole boat system, not a big fan. And then, I do like how the boss fight is really hard, though. The boss fight is really hard, and I enjoy that. Because my biggest issue with Cold War is that the hardest boss was Valentina. And even then, that's not really a super difficult boss. But with Terminus, right, the patient 06 or whatever, you know, the big tentacle guy, he was at least, like, hard to defeat, which was nice, right? So yeah, Liberty Falls. Now, this map got a lot of hate, and I mean a lot of hate when it first got revealed. Not even when it came out. When it got revealed, people hated it. And it still gets hate. But you know what? I think it might be the best casual modern zombies game, like map. For one simple reason. Because it's casual zombies, right? It's, yet again, a map that isn't too big, isn't too small, but is just right. Now, does it compete with the Giant and Doriz? No, it does not, because it's still modern zombies and it still has its flaws. But I will say, for a modern zombies casual game, or casual map, which Firebase Z was clearly trying to be, you know, that's what I'm comparing it to. It's not that bad. I actually really enjoy it. Citadel D-Moore. Now, everyone glazed this map when it first came out, and I was skeptical because of how I was skeptical, right? It's good. I'd say it's about on level with Terminus, though, because the issue with it for me is that the swords, yeah, I don't know, something about the swords that I just can't get behind. Like, I love the Rise and Drag with its elemental swords, and elemental bows, and Origins with the elemental staffs, but something about swords, they're just like, I don't know, it just feels generic in a way. Because, like, staffs, that's unique. Bows, that's also really unique. And then, like, swords, just like, okay, like, I don't know. And plus, they felt kind of underpowered, and the boss fight, yeah. The Tomb. Worst modern zombies map of all time. Butchered the ice staff. Butchered it. They hyped it up like as though it was going to be... It turned out to be just a casual map, right? They advertised it like as though it was going to be some big, huge maps. When, in fact, it's worse than Liberty Falls. Boss fight, I don't even remember because it just... It's a nothing. It's a nothing map. It's a nothing map. Okay? It's bad. Alright, and then Shattered Veil. The final map I have to rank. It's gonna go to good C. It's fine. Actually, no, I'm gonna put it at B with Liberty Falls. Yeah. It's just a fine map. It's nothing offensive. It's pretty good. Anyways, that's my ranking right there. Give me all the shit you want. Like, you know, if you play Call of Duty Zombies, you know, take a look-see, find out what you hate about it, my list, what you don't hate about it. Yeah, that's really about it for me. That's about it. Yep, thanks, bye. Like a dinosaur, Theodore, the devil's house I will explore. Theodore, I'll go through your basement door. Theodore, I will see the sun no more. Theodore, you stalk me like a dinosaur.